play. Since it's kind of just the first day after basketball, I'm kind of like in the process of just resting.
Chennedy Carter banned by WNBA commissioner and blames Caitlin Clark one shoulder check. That's all it took. One moment, one collision, one split second of contact that didn't even stop the game clock for more than a few seconds, and suddenly, the entire WNBA is on fire. Not metaphorically. We're talking sponsors pulling phones out, lawyers getting called, commissioners holding emergency meetings, and veteran players drawing battle lines in the locker room. All of it. From one shoulder check. And if you think you already know this story, I promise you, you don't. Because what's happening behind the scenes right now makes what you saw on the court look like a warm-up act. The moment Chennedy Carter drove her shoulder into Caitlin Clark's side and sent her sprawling to the floor, something shifted in this league that cannot be undone. This wasn't a basketball play gone wrong. This was a statement. A message. And depending on who you ask, it was either the bravest thing a veteran player has done in years, or the single most reckless decision in the history of the modern WNBA. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has reportedly seen enough. And the whisper network inside the league is now screaming one thing loud and clear: Chennedy Carter's days on that hardwood might be numbered. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Carter isn't scared. She isn't apologizing. She's pointing fingers directly at Caitlin Clark herself, and she's daring the league to come for her. Let's go back to where this really started, because this fire didn't ignite on the court that day. It had been smoldering long before the opening tip of that Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever matchup. From the very second Caitlin Clark was drafted, there was a target on her back. Not because she wasn't talented, not because she hadn't earned her spot, but because her arrival represented something that shook the foundation of what the WNBA had always been. She walked in with endorsement deals that most veterans will never see in their entire careers, with camera crews that followed her everywhere, with an audience that had never once tuned into a WNBA game suddenly buying jerseys and filling arenas. And for a group of women who spent years grinding through low salaries, no chartered flights, and near-zero mainstream attention, that was a lot to process. Carter, known for her explosive talent and an even more explosive temper, was simply the one who decided to do something about it. After a heated exchange that the cameras barely picked up, she waited for the ball to go out of play, and then she launched herself into Clark's side. The arena went silent. What was originally called a common foul was reviewed and upgraded to a flagrant one. But the foul call was almost irrelevant by that point. The story had already left the basketball court and entered a completely different arena. Behind the closed doors of the league office, the panic set in fast. Because here's what people outside the business side of sports don't fully understand. The WNBA's entire financial renaissance right now is built on one name. The Caitlin Clark effect is not a talking point. It is a documented, measurable surge in ratings, ticket sales, merchandise, and broadcast value that has transformed this league almost overnight. When your golden ticket is getting physically targeted in a way that looks less like basketball and more like a coordinated takedown, the sponsors don't wait. They call. And they called. Reports surfaced almost immediately that the league office held an emergency meeting to discuss Carter's future. The options on the table ranged from a lengthy suspension designed to send a message all the way to something far more severe, a shadow ban that would effectively push her out of the league entirely. The core fear driving all of it was simple. If the physicality keeps escalating, the brand new audience that just discovered women's basketball is going to walk right back out the door they just came through. But the commissioner is walking a razor's edge here, and everyone inside the league knows it. Come down too hard on Carter, and you risk igniting a revolt among the veterans who already feel like Clark is getting a red carpet treatment she hasn't paid her dues for. Go too soft, and you send a signal that your biggest star is unprotected. Either way, someone is furious. And that toxic tension is already seeping into locker rooms across the league. To understand why the ban conversation is being taken so seriously, you have to look at Chennedy Carter's history, and it is not a clean record. This is not the first time Carter has put a team in an impossible position. Back in 2021, she was suspended indefinitely by the Atlanta Dream over a conduct issue that was never fully explained to the public, but reportedly stemmed from a locker room confrontation with a teammate. She was eventually traded and later waived by the Los Angeles Sparks in a move that had people around the league quietly asking whether she was simply uncoachable. When she landed with the Chicago Sky, it felt like a fresh start, the second chance. And for a while it looked like it was working. Until the day she made the decision that put her name in headlines she never anticipated. Now here's where the story takes a turn that nobody predicted. Because Carter didn't retreat. She didn't issue a soft apology and wait for the storm to pass. She grabbed her phone, opened threads, and went to war. She engaged directly with fans who were coming after her, and at one point questioned openly what Caitlin Clark actually brings to the table beyond three-point shooting. She minimized the rookie's entire skill set. She implied that the media frenzy surrounding Clark is manufactured, carefully constructed by a league desperate for a marketable face. And she made her position crystal clear. She is being villainized for playing tough basketball while Clark is being coddled by referees and protected by a league office that has already decided what story it wants to tell. Carter's argument, stripped down to its core, is that she doesn't fit the image the WNBA wants to sell right now. And she believes she is being pushed out because of it, and she's not standing alone. The Chicago Sky locker room rallied around her in a way that shocked a lot of observers. Angel Reese, the high-profile rookie who has had her own well-documented history of tension with Clark, was seen on the bench visibly reacting after Carter's hit. The accusations started flying immediately that the Sky are consciously leaning into a villain identity, that they see themselves as the gritty, overlooked outsiders who don't get the private jets, the endorsement calls, or the primetime camera time. That us-against-the-world energy inside that locker room is making it extraordinarily difficult for the commissioner to step in without the entire situation reading as her taking a side. And make no mistake, the league is now split right down the middle. On one side, you have the players and fans who believe the game should remain physical, authentic, and unfiltered. On the other, you have the business minds who understand that the WNBA's survival in this new era depends entirely on protecting the stars who are driving revenue. The commissioner is leaning toward the business side. And Carter feels it. She feels herself being edged toward the door of a league she clawed her way back into. The situation escalated even further when reports leaked of a heated phone call between the Sky's front office and the league office. Sources describe the commissioner's team as genuinely disgusted, not just by the hit itself, but by what came after it. During the post-game press conference, Carter refused to even acknowledge Clark by name. That refusal, that specific choice, is now being used as Exhibit A in the case for more severe disciplinary action. The WNBA bylaws include clauses around conduct detrimental to the league, and right now, those clauses are being stretched in ways they were never designed to handle. Carter is being told, through back channels and official pressure, to fall in line. Her supporters are firing back that this is a blatant double standard, that enforcers throughout the league's history played far more physically and never once faced the threat of banishment. Then came the detail that turned this from a basketball controversy into a full cultural firestorm. Carter's teammates began publicly accusing the league of protecting Clark at the direct expense of the black athletes who built the WNBA from nothing. That accusation transformed everything. What started as a dispute over a hard foul became a conversation about race, equity, and whose story the league chooses to center when the cameras are rolling. Carter tapped into something real, a deep, long-simmering frustration among veterans who gave everything to this league when nobody was watching, only to see a rookie walk in and immediately receive a level of recognition and financial reward that most of them will never touch. She reframed Clark not just as a rival on the court, but as a symbol of a system that was never built with them in mind. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark has remained composed in public. Professional. Measured. But the weight of being the most targeted player on the floor every single night is becoming impossible to ignore. If the league doesn't act and she gets seriously hurt, the financial damage would be catastrophic, not just for Indiana, but for every team, every sponsor, and every broadcast partner that just signed on to this new era of women's basketball. Carter has achieved something remarkable with her social media campaign. She's successfully shifted the entire conversation away from her foul and toward a question that is far more uncomfortable. Is Caitlin Clark's presence even fair to the rest of this league? And now everything comes down to one woman. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has to look at this situation and decide what kind of league she is running. Is the WNBA a place where fierce, unfiltered competition defines the culture? Or is it a carefully managed entertainment product where the stars who drive revenue are protected above all else? If Carter is banned, the league is making a statement that will echo through professional sports for years, that brand management now outweighs basketball tradition. If she stays, it signals that the new era isn't quite as protected as everyone thought. And if a bounty system is proven to exist, if it is confirmed that multiple players coordinated to make Clark's first season a nightmare, the consequences could be so sweeping that they reshape the entire league overnight. The boring WNBA is gone. Whatever that league was before Caitlin Clark walked through the door, it no longer exists. What's here now is something rawer, louder, more complicated, and more watched than anything women's basketball has ever produced. Chennedy Carter didn't just commit a flagrant foul. She lit a match inside a building that was already full of gasoline. The commissioner holds the fire extinguisher. The whole world is watching to see if she uses it. And Carter? Carter is standing in the middle of the flames, daring everyone to blink first. The final whistle is coming. The only question left is, who's still standing when it blows?